On happy Wednesday. I'm getting a lot of people asking me these past couple of weeks. They're like, hey, we want to list whatever, blah 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 blah, and they're like, hey, we want $900,000, and they're like, we're looking at comps say our house is worth $900,000, and I'm saying, okay, great. I did some research, and based on the comps, I found that your house would be listed between $700,000 and $750,000. So would you mind sending me the comps that you found and send them to me so I can get a better idea, because maybe I just missed them, right? And so they send me the comps, we look over them and whatnot, and I look, and the comps are from a year ago, over 6 months ago, right? A year, maybe 2 years. And they're like, well, we want to use these comps. So would I. I would love to use these comps, and I'd love to sell the house for $850,000, $900,000, because like any other realtor, if we could sell it for more, we make more, right? But if I were to advise you to do that, I'd only be setting you up for failure, just based on, what is selling at this current time, and that is between $700,000 and $750,000. And what I'm trying to say here is, when looking at research, one, you can't use a Zillow's estimate, because Zillow has not been in your home. They don't know what your home looks like. They'll use just an algorithm to come up with a price. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's way off. And if you have a beautiful home, it's most likely going to be off, especially if you have a unique home. So Zillow's rarely correct. I wouldn't base it off that. I mean, if you want to do a quick check, you can get an estimate of where it's going to be at, but it's most likely not going to be accurate. So another way you can also get a good estimate is through an appraisal. You can get an appraisal done. And you could also use a realtor who's very knowledgeable in the area, is an expert in that market, and they can give you an accurate data based on what's selling in the last 6 months. Because if you use listings that have sold longer than 6 months ago, that was technically a different market. And during that market, you had a lot of sellers who were thinking, hey, we can list really high and we're going to get a really high price because someone's going to buy it sight unseen. That was the case in the heat of the market, but no longer is that the case. People are starting to hold off. Rates are kind of scaring them. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market that are scaring people from just paying full price, unless it's just a phenomenal home. So what I'm saying is, doing research, it comes down to doing research for what you want to list your home at. You want to be within 6 months. If you're doing your own research, you want to find listings that have sold within the last 6 months. You don't really want to use active listings, because that's technically, right, your competition. You don't want to, I don't even look at active listings for an estimate, just because if they haven't sold, they're not relevant. Under contract, you have a little more of a chance, just because you can kind of get an estimate based on where they're, like how many days they've been on the market, things like that. So you can get a better idea of, they sold 3% under what they were listed at. You can kind of get a good idea. But like I said, I typically like using closed listings. Don't use your Zillow's estimate. You can get an appraiser if you'd like an accurate answer, but sometimes appraisers aren't correct. For example, I just did a deal the other day, and they're like, the appraiser said it's worth 4.2 last November. So okay, that's good. How do you know the appraiser? Oh, they're a friend of ours. Huh. Okay. And what did you tell this appraiser friend of yours? Did you tell him what you wanted? Yeah. Okay. So there's another example of, sometimes appraisers or realtors that are your friends don't give you accurate answers. Just what I'm saying is, do your research, get a fair estimate. I would say get multiple opinions. That way you don't just base it off of one person. Don't use Zillow. Yeah. So let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'd like to know. And yeah, do some research, see where your house is worth. Or don't do your research. Call me and I'll tell you what your house is worth. Call me, 561-693-9291. And the number's down below. Anyways, have a great December 6th. And talk soon, guys. Ciao.